I have previously spoken about the illusion of freedom of choice when it comes to the current Western democracies and their representative elected governments. I have spoken at length about the fact that executive power, the only power that really matters, is exercised by local and global non-elected technocrats. Hence, elections make no difference as far as your country's economic policies are concerned. And economics is in fact the most important defining force in our society. Art needs funding, science and healthcare also need funding. I've also mentioned that individual votes are counterbalanced by other individual votes when non-qualified majorities are given the right to cast a vote. Hence, allowing universal voting rights to uneducated masses is a convenient illusion of freedom of choice, which benefits a thinking minority. I have also touched upon the absurd inconsistency of the current system, which nobody seems to notice. Namely, the fact that the public as a whole is not deemed competent to control their individual behavior. Examples are many, and I'm not talking about decision making on your actions that may affect others. But the fact is, you are treated as an irresponsible child. The population at large is subject to so many so-called zoning laws and regulations as if they are deemed incompetent to take elementary or sane decisions on their individual and family lives. Yet, the public at large is purportedly competent to make major choices by electing general policies on how the society should be run. This is absurd, but what is truly laughable is the fact that the said general population is ready to protect with their lives such a blatant delusion. But why was the traditional feudal system allowed to evolve to what you now perceive as representative democracy? Well, first I have to answer the simple question as to why was the outright slavery allowed to evolve into a feudal system? Well, that's of course simple, as any thinking being has figured out already. It is economically justified. Firstly, slavery requires economic sacrifices on the side of the masters to maintain the lives of their livestock, be that humans or other domestic animals. Alternatively, if you burn through human resource, like you use firewood, you will quickly exhaust your stock and must compete with other masters for more. And it was not until the 18th century when human livestock started growing exponentially for current recorded human history, of course. Slavery requires a lot of policing, internal armies. Basically, it stopped, say, for example, Spartan expansionist policies. And secondly, it has become obvious that humans and other higher mammals, and by the way, birds, need abstract stimuli to maintain their health and longevity. There is this one particular abstract stimulus, known popularly as hope, which slavery somehow takes away. Health in most cases means productivity, not always, mind you. So it is important to maintain it for the master. Now you see how feudal system, by allowing higher mammals to roam somewhat freely on master's land, solves problem number one. Problem number two can be resolved by combined approach I already discussed. Abstract ideas such as religion, as well as blind trust in scientific theories, fear, education, and alternators of consciousness. Some are popular, widely accessible, and chemical in nature, alcohol and drugs, for example. Some, not so much. There is a popular urban legend that during the communist feudalism, after the initial failure of the collective farms, when population at large was finally allowed to acquire a small piece of agricultural land, say about 1,000 square meters, one of the dictators noticed, laughingly, that people produced more food in these 1,000 square meters than they did in the collective farms as a whole. The further evolution to the modern representative democracy, which, as you may notice, followed directly the exponential increase of the human population, simultaneously resolves many of the issues I just mentioned by simply introducing the illusion of freedom. It immensely improves the efficacy and the efficiency of the human cattle, introduces self-policing, and takes attention away from masters. I don't need to spell for you all the benefits of the system, but if I were to be a ruler, it would immediately become obvious to me that taking a small percentage of the significantly improved production of my cattle would perpetuate my lifestyle anyhow. In addition, allowing elections, I would be given popular support and legitimacy. And this last point is very important too, because every now and then, a Spartacus or a Robespierre may gain popular support, and, well, executions are not the best way to go. However, at present, if you subscribe to Thomas Malthus's ideas, for example, you come to a certain limit. Your cattle overgrazed its pasture. And please understand, I'm not trying to be cynical by using the word cattle. This is how Christian population was referred to by the Ottomans up until 150 years ago. Raya, which means literally cattle. I don't see how human resource is any less demeaning. So, straight to the point, economists traditionally divide the factors of production into 3 or 4 categories: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. I will contend here that the only factor of production is in fact land. Land is king's wealth. Land has been traditionally the reward for loyal service of noblemen. Land is where wealth in fiat currency is directed to. Everything else derives its origins from land. Until humans learn how to synthesize matter from vacuum, for example, this will remain so. And, call me stupid, but to this day, I haven't heard of industrial sustainable advances in imitating plant life photosynthesis. I guess solar panels can be factored in photosynthesis, but these require silver. Also, gold nanoparticles work particularly well as a catalyst, researchers said, because their surface interact favorably with CO2 molecules and are efficient in absorbing light and do not break down or degrade like other metals that can tarnish easily. Gold and silver. The other side of the equation, reduction of livestock, is an obvious solution. Shooting war is a great way of introducing austerity and changing societal order as a whole. But in the presence of nukes, it would ruin your posture. War, like siege mentality, is useful, but war must remain an obstruction. War against poverty, war against boogeymen, war against climate, war against microorganisms, war against planet Jupiter, your pick. Reduce fertility, take away hope, and offer a digestible way out, my personal favorite, drug overdose, and you will resolve the problem. Or, more popular approach and positive reinforcement can be used, a new global religion. Some new, old, in the spirit of yin and yang type of pangeism, shamanism can reoccur. Save the planet, save the trees, save the forest, save the bees. Hate your own species, yin and yang again. There will be some remnants of resistance on the fringes, but we can label them as dangerous extremists and use violence against them with a popular support. I wonder why nobody thought about that before. Thank you for watching.